Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's session for Get Your Business More Visible on Google. My name is Daryl, and I'm a trainer for the free skills training program, the Google Digital Garage. A little bit about myself. I come from a very diverse background within sales, recruitment, hospitality, learning and development, and of course within tech. And I dedicate the majority of my time to help close the digital skills gap that is so prevalent in our world today. But I'm not here alone. We're very fortunate to have Anthea with us here today, and she will be moderating today's chat. In order to find her, if you're viewing us through a laptop or a desktop, you'll find her just on the right-hand side within the chat box, and she'll have a little blue spanner next to her name. If you're viewing us through a mobile device, there's a very good chance that the chat will be just below us. And as mentioned, Anthea will have this little blue spanner next to her name, and she's also a Google Digital Garage trainer, and we're doing our very best to support you as we go along throughout today's session. Now, I'm going to be diving into a couple more housekeeping tips, but please go ahead and say hello to Anthea. But in order to do so, you would be required to have a YouTube account. Relatively easy to get set up, or once you're all set up, you'll be able to fire over those questions to myself and Anthea, and we love queries, we love questions, we love emojis, we love thoughts, we love any type of information that you'd like to share within the chat, so please go ahead and do so. We will be pausing throughout today's session for any particular questions that you may have, but as the session's going along, don't be shy, pop the questions into the chat. We'd love to hear from you, and there's going to be a few activities throughout today's session, so we're really looking forward for you to get engaged with those activities and really get hands-on with today's session. Another thing I'd like to mention is this particular live training is part of a broader offering from the Google Digital Garage. So I hugely encourage you to click in the link in the description below. It'll take you to the website and give you a plethora of information, online courses, and many, many more live webinars very similar to this one. And in terms of an accessibility point of view, if you would like to have the closed captions or the subtitles for this particular session, all you'll need to do if you're on a desktop or a laptop is hover your mouse over the video. It should pop up a video where you'll see the all the icons at the bottom of the video. Then you want to find a button, normally underneath the gear cog, and you'll find a button that says CC. When you click onto that, you'll be able to get the subtitles and follow along with today's session. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump in and think, well, what are we going to be covering over the next 60 minutes? Well, we've broken it down to 3 basic steps as we do for most of our sessions. Number 1, we're going to look at how we can understand our customers that find your business. That is probably at the forefront of everybody's mind, because that's really all the customers have all the answers. So how do we now put ourselves in their shoes and start thinking about how do customers find you? What are the steps that they need to take in order to interact with you, purchase from you, or just get in contact with you? Next up, we're going to look at how we can build your presence on Google Search and Maps, and you'll start to realize that Google Search and Maps pretty much work hand in hand. Then last but not least, we're going to look at how we can optimize your visibility on Google. Throughout the whole course of this hour, sometimes this can be incredibly overwhelming. So just to let you know, this particular live training will be available as a recording for approximately 24 hours. All you'll need to do is click on the same link that you used to join today's session, and you'll be able to rewind and fast forward and really absorb the information at your own pace. With that being said, sometimes these webinars are still a little bit overwhelming. Of course, you've got the link in the description below to jump into the online courses to learn at your own pace, and you've got more live trainings. But just to let you know, if you are in the UK, if you're a small business or charity, Google is offering free one-to-one mentoring sessions to small businesses and charities throughout the UK. Myself and Anthea, currently that's on the call today, are super, super proud to be a part of this amazing initiative. So if you are in the UK, please go ahead and take down this link, which is g.co/UK mentoring, and hopefully you will see you within one of those sessions. If you aren't in the UK, please go ahead and pass on this link to somebody that you may know within the UK that would hugely benefit from this amazing initiative. And we look to help you in all forms of fashions, whether it's going to be social media strategy, maybe you're looking to get more visible on Google, maybe you're looking to improve your CV or cover letter. There's going to be somebody ready and waiting to help you. So hopefully you'll take down that link and we'll see many of you in that particular session. Before we jump in, I'd like to say a couple of hellos, because I've seen a few of you starting to interact with the chat, saying hello to Anthea. We got one from Robin Weiler, hello, hi to you. We got one from Andrew calling in from Northeast UK, and a graphic designer and web developer. Welcome to you. We got Adelia, beautiful name, probably mispronounced it. and my sincere apologies if I did so. Hi, everyone. Dela, there's easier. Dela from Indonesia. Wow, we have an international audience today. You are a psychology fresh graduate, and I'm interested all about business world. Well, you came to the right place, because if you're looking to run your own business and get yourself online, you've come to the right place. We've got Robin as well, who mentioned hi earlier, but he's calling in from Switzerland and he works in a digital agency. Big welcome to you. We've got Rita calling in from Latvia. Wow, we have an international audience. We've got Sonia calling in from India. We've got Simran calling in from India as well. We've got Fatima, also a hi to you. So keep those coming in. Myself and Anthea, we love engagement. So please feel free to pop in your questions, your queries. And I'd like to remind everybody, within the next hour, you've all entered a completely non-judgmental environment. So any question that you'd like to ask, we're going to do our very best to answer. If we can't answer it, we're going to hopefully signpost you to a great resource that's going to hopefully lead to a path that can help you answer that particular question or that strategy or that next move that you'd like to take with your business, your charity, or your organization. A few more coming in from Summit. Hey, from you. We've got Juliania, beautiful name, probably mispronounced it, from Malaysia. I love Malaysia. I've been to Kuala Lumpur. We've got Summit calling in from India as well. That is fantastic. Let's keep that up. Let's keep that momentum. Let's keep that energy. And let's go ahead and jump into the first slide, which is pretty much going to jump into a couple of statistics, which is 3 out of 4 online customers use a search engine to find a business. To summarize that, essentially it's going to be 75% of customers are using search engines to find a business. And I can vouch for this on a daily basis, to be honest. Every time I'm looking to find more about a business, I jump into Google, I start searching for that business, and I go ahead and find that. But next one is 82% of smartphone users reportedly routinely conducting local mobile searches. And I'd like to focus on those last 3 words, which is local. We want to drive local businesses. We want to drive footfall. And of course, we don't want to go too far. We want to make sure we support the businesses around us. Second of all, I'd like to mention the word of mobile. Let's face it, we live in the mobile world. Maybe some of you are even watching this through your mobile device. And if you're not, and you're watching it on a laptop or a desktop, you probably have your phone at arm's reach. Now, all of you are thinking, wow, is Daryl looking at me right now? No, because we all do the same thing. We all have our smartphones at arm's reach. Once we have our smartphones, we have so much information at our fingertips. Now, this is nothing new to all of us. We know this. But we need to keep this at the front of our minds when we're thinking about getting our business more visible on Google, understanding that mobile is incredibly important. If people are using mobile, how do we make your business more accessible? So a couple of bold statistics. Let's go ahead and jump into the first part of today's session, which is how do customers find you? Now, that's a question you can put out there, and maybe you can go ahead and answer that if you want, but that's just really the introduction to the first topic, which is how do customers find you? And let's go ahead and jump into an exercise, which is I'm going to get everybody to grab that smartphone. If you're using it currently to view this live training, you might want to use a different mobile device. Make sure you don't swipe away. But what I would like everybody to do is grab your mobile device, and I want you to start searching for a pizza or food near you, for example. So you're on the hunt for a pizza. Now, this could be next door, this could be 5 miles away, this could be 20 miles away, but you don't really want to get off your couch right now because you're very comfortable where you are. So what I'd like you to do is grab your phone, and I want you to start searching for a pizza. And while you're going through this search process, I want you to analyze every single step that you take, and then I want you to start sharing that with us within the chat. So you're going to be searching for a pizza near you, and you're going to be choosing that pizza. So normally what I do is I grab my phone. I'll probably jump onto something like Google Maps because I'm googly for Google, but you may be using something else like a TripAdvisor, or you may be using a different platform, which is perfectly okay. But just go with your instincts, grab your phone, go on a hunt for pizza. Maybe you'll even have pizza for lunch or for dinner tonight because you'll find an amazing pizzeria. But I want you to go ahead and find that pizza. And hopefully you're all doing that at this very moment in time, because this is going to help you understand the customer's journey. Of course, from a pizzeria's point of view, maybe not all of you sell pizza, but it's the same concept. We're jumping in the customer's shoes and we're understanding that thought process. Because let's face it, we are all customers at some point in our lives, or some point of the day. We are going to buy something and we are a customer. So You're probably doing that right now, but as you're doing that, there's two questions that I'm going to put out there, and Anthea and myself, we're going to love to know the responses from those, which is, how do you search for that product online? Then, how did you search for it? And then what factors help you decide which listings to select? And I'll give an example of these. So I'm going to be searching for a pizza. I generally will grab my phone and I will probably go to Google and I will type in pizza near me. Once I've clicked enter, Google normally populates a whole lot of information for me. I don't know where they get it. We're going to learn a little bit more about how they find that shortly, but I don't know, it gets all this information for us. Then they present that information on a page. And then there's going to present a multiple pizzerias or multiple places in which I can find a pizza. And when I find a particular pizza and I think, oh, maybe this one's better because it's got great photos, or maybe this one's a little bit better because it's closer, or maybe this one's a little bit better because it's got more star ratings. So please go ahead and pop it into the chat. Let myself and Anthea know, while you are searching for that pizza, how did you search for that product or service online? And then most importantly, what factors helped you decide which listings to select? I'll give you a bit of time to go ahead and type those into the chat. I think we've got a few coming in so far, but it would be really, really great to get an overall understanding what if everybody does, because there might be some common trends of things that we all do. So we got one from Summit. Does near me work with a specific radius? If we can use, how can we increase the radius while doing SEO for small businesses? Summit, that is a fantastic question. It is a question that we would have to elaborate more with a one-to-one. But when it comes down to the locality of your particular business, there will be a certain radius of how that business can find you. But it also comes down to a magnitude of signals and a lot of factors, which I'm going to be talking about a little bit shortly. But Summit, please go ahead and keep up those questions, pop it into the chat, and Anthea is going to do her very best to answer that as well. So far, in terms of finding this pizzeria, we've got Fatima looked at photos, price, and distance. Very, very important, because you don't want to be running or walking or driving 50 miles to get a pizza. Next one, we've got Sonia, best picture. I'm actually a sucker for a good picture as well. So does the pizza look amazing? Does it have melting cheese? Is the steam coming off? Is it making me salivate? And do I really want to eat that pizza? We've got another one from Simran. Discount maybe, 100%. Discount could be a part of why you decide to buy that pizza. And I love that answer. And it's quite an original answer, to be honest. But yes, very, very much so. It could be a part of your deciding factor. We've got one from Robin. Location first, because you don't want to go too far. Then the rating, because you want to get some credibility. Then how do I choose which website I click on? That's how you choose. Very similar to me. Thank you so much for sharing, Robin. Another one from Rita. I have one pizzeria near me, but without a web page or a photo. So I was searching for the next one. That kind of proves our point, Rita. That is beautifully put out there. So what we just put in there, she's found a pizzeria, but it didn't really give her much information. And if it doesn't give her much information, do we really want to buy from that pizzeria? Or we're probably going to find a pizzeria that's got a photo, that's got a review, and it's got all those details. Another one from Eulania, hopefully I pronounced that correct. How near it is, the stars, the reviews, and the price. Those are some of the core elements of why I choose a pizzeria or anything for that answer. Another one for Summit, I store a store video showcasing different pizza and a crowd at a store. Okay. Interesting, but really, really appreciate all of you adding those within the chat, because hopefully you're starting to see a common trend. There's going to be things that we're going to be looking for. So with that in mind, I'd like to let you all know that you've all been through a customer journey. And that customer journey is going to be very similar to your customers and which they're going to go through their journey. Now, if you don't sell pizza, they're not going to be looking for pizzas. Maybe if you sell a different product or a service, or you're a web designer or a web developer, then maybe they're looking for your services, but they're trying to find something a little bit more relevant to them. So when it comes to a customer online search journey, you have search. Now, the consumer search behavior has changed due to the rise of mobile devices. Remember, we spoke about that, or I spoke about that at the very beginning of today's session, on how important it is to be mobile friendly. While we are searching for these, we've all given some really great responses in terms of how you find that particular business. Then you're going to make a decision. And that deciding factors could come down to the ratings that someone's popped in. It could come down to the price. It could come down to the locality. It could come down to a magnitude of factors. But All of you watching right now, your customers are going to go through something similar. And when they're going through this deciding factor, you want your business to shine. You want your business to be at the forefront of their minds. So the best way in which you can do that is learn more about your customers, learn more about what they want. For example, if you were all in the business of pizzerias, the first thing that most of us would want to know is how close is that business to us? And if it's really, really close, we'll probably buy from them. And then if that pizzeria understands that, they'll understand that the radius of around that business, those are some of the most in-demand customers, and that business should learn more about them. What makes them tick? What makes them come to the pizzeria? What do they like? What don't they like? What social media platform are they on? How old are they? Are they more male? Are they more female? And the list goes on. And I would love to go more on about that. But when it comes to the customer, they go from the search phase, the deciding factor, and then, of course, the engagement. When it comes to the engagement, it's how we expect people to interact with you. Normally, it's going to be a big button, which is normally called a CTA. A little bit of a jargon buster, acronym buster, should we say, is a call to action. Very, very important in today's world because all of us have really bad attention spans. We need to be captivated, and we go ahead and click on a button to take us to wherever we need to go. In this instance, we want a button to click on to take us to the website to buy a pizza with as little clicks as possible. So hopefully I can get the pizza in my belly as soon as possible. Now, when we are thinking about getting your business more visible on Google, we really need to start thinking about why search is so important. Now, the age-old concept, if you build it, they will come, doesn't really deem true within the online age. Now, when they built the Eiffel Tower or they built the pyramids, people used to hoard and just come to it. However, if you're looking to create a website, for example, we've got a web designer and a web developer in the house today who's probably creating websites before. Maybe some of you, also have created a website. But what you will notice is that when you create this website, regardless of how amazing it looks, it could be phenomenal, just looks fantastic. It's got elements and animations and everything just works beautifully. But if we can't find it, it's not really going to be much use to you or to anybody else. That is when search engines become incredibly important. But I do not have the time and the knowledge to go into every single detail about how Google search works. So we're in luck. We're actually going to go ahead and jump into a video, which is a 5-minute video that I'm going to go ahead and play for you. So sit tight, sit back, relax, absorb the information, because a lot of the content inside today's video will kind of help us understand a little bit more of the content a little bit later. So it's going to be a 5-minute video. I'm going to go ahead and play this, and I will see you all back in about 5 minutes.
Every day, billions of people come here with questions about all kinds of things. Sometimes we even get questions about Google search itself, like how this whole thing actually works. And while this is a subject entire books have been written about, there's a good chance you're in the market for something a little more concise. So let's say it's getting close to dinner and you want a recipe for lasagna. You've probably seen this before, but let's go a little deeper. Since the beginning, back when the homepage looked like this, Google has been continuously mapping the web, hundreds of billions of pages, to create something called an index. Think of it as the giant library we look through whenever you do a search for lasagna or anything else. Now, the word lasagna shows up a lot on the web. Pages about the history of lasagna, articles by scientists whose last name happened to be lasagna, stuff other people might be looking for. But if you're hungry, randomly clicking through millions of links is no fun. This is where Google's ranking algorithms come into play. First, they try to understand what you're looking for, so they can be helpful even if you don't know exactly the right words to use or if your spelling is a little off. Then they sift through millions of possible matches in the index and automatically assemble a page that tries to put the most relevant information up top for you to choose from. Okay, now we have some results. But how did the algorithms actually decide what made it onto the first page? There are hundreds of factors that go into ranking search results, so let's talk about a few of them. You may already know that pages containing the words you search for are more likely to end up at the top. No surprise there. But the location of those words, like in the page's title or in an image's caption, those are factors too. There's a lot more to ranking than just words. Back when Google got started, we looked at how pages linked to each other to better understand what pages were about and how important and trustworthy they seemed. Today, linking is still an important factor. Another factor is location, where a search happens. Because if you happen to be in Ormea, Italy, you might be looking for information about their annual lasagna festival. But if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, you probably aren't. When a web page was uploaded is an important factor too. Pages published more recently often have more accurate information, especially in the case of a rapidly developing news story. Of course, not every site on the web is trying to be helpful. Just like with robocalls on your phone or spam in your email, there are a lot of sites that only exist to scam, and every day scammers upload millions more of them. So just because instantvirusdownload.net lists the words lasagna recipe 400 times, that doesn't mean it's going to help you make dinner. We spend a lot of time trying to stay one step ahead of tricks like these, making sure our algorithms can recognize scam sites and flag them before they make it to your search results page. So let's review. Billions of times a day, whenever someone searches for lasagna, or resume writing tips, or how to swaddle a baby, or anything else, Google software locates all the potentially relevant results on the web, removes all the spam, and ranks them based on hundreds of factors like keywords, links, location, and freshness. Okay, good time to take a breath. This last part is about how we make changes to search, and it's important. Since 1998, when Google went online, people seem to have found our results pretty helpful. But the web is always changing, and people are always searching for new things. In fact, 1 in every 7 searches is for something that's never been typed into the search box before, by anyone, ever. So we're always working on updates to search, thousands every year. Which brings up a big question. How do we decide whether a change is making search more helpful? Well, one of the ways we evaluate potential updates to search is by asking people like you. Every day, thousands of search quality raters look at samples of search results side by side, then give feedback about the relevance and reliability of the information. To make sure those evaluations are consistent, the raters follow a list of Search Quality Evaluator guidelines. Think of them as our publicly available guide to what makes a good result good. Oh, and one last thing to remember. We use responses from raters to evaluate changes, but they don't directly impact how search results are ranked. So there you have it. Every time you click search, our algorithms are analyzing the meaning of the words in your search, matching them to the content on the web, understanding what content is most likely to be helpful and reliable, and then automatically putting it all together in a neatly organized page designed to get you the info you need. All in, 0.81 seconds? Wow. Anyone else ready for dinner? Interested in learning more? We've got a whole website dedicated to how search works. Just click right here. Want to read the Search Quality Rater guidelines for yourself? Click right here.
Hello, well, welcome back. Hopefully you found that incredibly insightful. I'm not going to lie, I've seen that quite a few times, but every time I watch it, I seem to learn something new. And I've actually popped the link within the chat. So please go ahead and take that video away with you. Share with a friend, share with a family member, or share with your coworkers, because having a really good understanding of how Google search works, or at least starting that journey of having that understanding, will hopefully help you and anybody start to get more visible on Google. So let's go ahead and jump into the next part, which is going to be focused around our customers searching for your products or services online. If you're not there when they are searching for a product or a service you provide, it is a missed opportunity. It's just like if you were looking to go shopping in the bread aisle and there was no bread, for example. So being there is really, really important, especially when there is something specific and something localized. So in order to help you understand a little bit more about those trends, we're going to go ahead and jump into an amazing tool called Google Trends. Google Trends is an amazing tool that I highly recommend that you jump into afterwards, which is going to allow you to find out what people are searching for in terms of those keywords and find out within any certain country, within a certain time frame. Now, it's not going to tell you how many times somebody searched that particular term, but it's going to give you a percentage. And you're going to start finding out more about when is this keyword more trending? Is it more of a seasonal thing? Is it this people search for Christmas gifts in November, of course, more than they would search for it in January, for example? However, you could be like some of my family members who shop for Christmas throughout the whole day, but this is a great tool. What you can also do is compare those keywords. So highly recommend that everybody jumps into Google Trends after today's session, have a little bit of play around, look at what people are searching for, but specifically focus on the keywords that are relevant to your business, which is going to hopefully allow you to build up that tightly themed keyword list that is so important. With that being said, we've jumped into the first end of the first section, which is all about putting ourselves in the customer's shoes. I'm going to go see if there's any questions. There's one from earlier from Summit in terms of, does Near Me work with a specific radius? If so, how can we increase that radius? So that is a little bit of a more complex answer, but to give you a summary of that answer, when you create your Google business profile listing, which is something that you will then have availability for people to find you, you will then be able to change this within your dashboard. Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and jump into, thanks very much for Anthea's checked. So there is no radius answer, just says the current location. So thanks very much for that. Let's go ahead and jump into the second part, which is where to build your presence on Google. And hopefully all of us have seen this page before, which is the SERP, which stands for Search Engine Results Page, an acronym that you may or may not use in the future. But in order for Google or any search engine to work, us as a searcher needs to input a search query. Once we've inputted a search query with some keywords, Google is then going to populate the most relevant, up-to-date information for us to hopefully provide the information that we're looking for. Once we have inputted that search query, we're then going to get some adverts, which we lead towards search engine marketing, which we won't be talking too much about today's session, but feel free to click on the link in the description below. There are many, many more live trainings focusing around paid advertisements or digital advertising. Then we have something called an organic search result, which I'll be talking more about very, very shortly. If you have a website, you do have an organic listing and it's publicly available. Then we have the business listing. Now, when it comes to the business listing, this is where we're going to give people the core information about who you are, when are you open, how do I find you, how do I call you? So essentially the core information that your customers will require to hopefully get in contact with you or buy from you. So when it comes down to these three different areas, when we break it down, we have organic search. Organic search results are those websites that show up on a search engine which are not paid advertisements. Organic search results are matched to the searcher's query through an algorithm that measures relevancy and authority. Something very similar to what we saw within the video earlier, put that into play, into context. Then we have the business listing, which is a listing that is free of charge to create. And then we have a paid search, which of course will lead down to budgeting for a particular keyword and getting your business at the very top of that Google search. So three different areas. Keeping that in mind, when it comes to your being more visible on Google, you can get those three different areas. Jumping into the first one, which is search engine optimization, is the practice of increasing the quantity and the quality of traffic to your website through organic search results. There is no fast way to do this. There is no quick fix. There is no way we can just get ourselves up and running. And just to give you a little bit more context, where Google has more than 200 signals to determine how a page ranks. So let's talk a little bit more about the most important aspects when it comes to search engine optimization program, where content is the key to search engine optimization. Your goal is to include information on your website that helps Google understand what your business is about. If Google understands more about what your business is about, then your customers and your audience and your viewers, however you'd like to refer them to as, will be able to understand your content and find it a lot more efficiently. So when it comes to search engine optimization, they're going to give you a couple of tips for success, which will be run keyword research. And a question I'd like to put out there to everybody is, remember, there's no wrong or right answer right here. There is just an ideation of coming up with what is possible. So why do you think a tightly themed keyword list is so important to a business, charity, or an organization? Give it a little bit of a think. It could be obvious. If it's obvious, pop it into the chat. If it's not obvious, still go ahead and attempt to answer that question. Is why do you think a tightly themed keyword list is so important to a business, charity, or an organization. Next up, in terms of optimizing for success, is publish useful, high quality content. This may sound incredibly obvious, but this is something that we need to do consistently, and making sure that we take the time to realize who are our customers, and we can only produce useful and high quality content on the basis that we know who our customers are. Remember, we could create content for everyone or content for no one, but we want to make sure that it's relevant to your particular audience. Then we have make web pages search friendly. I would love to talk more about it, but I want to focus on two main elements, which is the title of your website and the meta description, which is the few sentences that follow from the heading title of your website. Those two words, I would say, or the title and the meta description, are both used to generate the actual search result of a specific page. But before I move on, the one message we need to bring across here is that you please do not speed up the process by trying to stuff in a whole lot of keywords into your web page. Hopefully you understand the page around lasagna on the video earlier, that we can't just make it happen with a whole lot of keywords. It takes a bit of time. So in terms of answering that question, why do you think keywords are so important? We have one from Sonia. You know with what keywords you use to better rank in Google search engine. 100%. Rita, showing up in high and organic search. 100%. That is on point. Just think of it. You have a business and you have your customers, and then you have a search engine. The major joining factor are going to be those keywords. So understanding what those keywords are that are relevant to your audience and to you and to your business. But most importantly, this is going to change with time. And it's an iterative process of finding those keywords that are tightly related to your business, along with the Google Trends and what people are searching for in any given time around the year. Next up, we're going to think about understanding your user's intent. Coming back to those wonderful keywords, we are becoming research obsessed. But when we are searching, for example, we start off with short keywords. Let's say, for example, I'm on the hunt for some trainers. And to be perfectly honest, I'm actually currently looking for some trainers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump into Google. I'm going to type in trainers, and I'm probably going to get a whole lot of different results. Nike shoes, Adidas shoes, high heel shoes, men's shoes, kids shoes, doll shoes, you name it. This is going to be a whole lot of trainers that are just presented to me, because that's the information that I've provided to Google. However, when I'm further along that customer journey, remember that customer journey was the search, and then the decision, and then the engagement, which is going to be the process of that customer. Now I'm going to be thinking, you know what, I actually have flat feet, and I need to find really, really good shoes that are good for running, and because I have flat feet. And if that is something that you provide as a product or a service within your business, that is something we need to start thinking about, because these are the type of keywords that we need to start thinking about bidding for later when you advertise. But most importantly, we need to incorporate these keywords within your content, because it's going to be relevant. Wonderful. Seeing a couple more questions coming in there. The next one would be, well, Daryl, how am I supposed to know what people are doing? And how do I know how I'm performing on Google? Well, there is an amazing tool called Google Search Console. The link below, which is g.co/search console. If any of you have a website, or when you do get a website, I highly recommend that you set up Google Search Console, which is a free service that helps you monitor and maintain your website on Google Search. To put it in the most basic layman's terms, the way I like to think about it is, imagine this is your baby monitor, your monitor for your website on the internet, telling you this is how your website is performing. It has two primary functions. It monitors your performance in Google search results, but it also shows how Google sees your site. On top of that, it's also going to give you some keywords in terms of, let's say, for example, I was searching for a business like yours. I type in a keyword, it could be any keyword, and I start searching and I start searching and I start searching, and then I come across your website and I click on your website. Google Search Console is going to go, hey, somebody found your website using these particular keywords. Now that is incredibly valuable insight, because you're now learning more about what keywords people are using to find products or services like yours. So I highly recommend that you jump into Google Search Console to start to set that up, and that's going to allow you to help you. It's going to allow you to understand more about how your website is performing on Google. Then we have local SEO. This is really about increasing the search visibility for businesses that serve your communities face to face. Coming back to Summit's question earlier in terms of how is that radius? How does all of that work? Well, when it comes down to local directories, they're a great way for local businesses to connect with potential customers within their area. In order for you to do that, you want to start thinking about Google Business Profile. Now, Google Business Profile gives you the ability to be visible on Google Maps, search, and it's difficult to emphasize the importance of mobile. Because it is so mobile friendly, mobile search has been steadily on the rise, and it's now about over half of all searches on Google. That is correct. Over half of people around the world are using mobile devices to search for businesses, probably businesses like yours. People searching on mobile devices frequently look for businesses near me by adding the phrase near me, for example. So how do we now get set up and get ourselves set up with a Google Business Profile? Well, there's 4 steps to create a Google business listing. First and foremost, you can go ahead and download the app and sign into business.google.com. You want to add or select your business. Now, when you select that business, it could be a pre-existing business or an entirely new business. You will then need to enter your information, but most importantly, you will need to verify your listing. There's multiple ways in which you can verify your listing, which I'll talk more about very, very shortly, but Google makes it incredibly easy for you to verify that it is your business so you can start editing and changing that information. Once you've got that set up, you're going to go ahead and show people that you are active. So update your business info. What time you open? When are you close? When is there a public holiday? Are you having an event? Add photos of your team, your business, and really give your customers a real great understanding about what your business is. Maybe you have a pristine location that is just phenomenal to walk into. If you have a business like that, I would highly recommend that you create a virtual tour. And that is really going to improve your customer's journey. I have seen an amazing virtual tour of a business on a Google Business Profile. And I was like, wow, this is super cool. I can almost see everything and look around the business before I even get there. Then when I finally get there, I'm going to get that sense of, oh, I feel like I've already been here before. I know where that is. I know where the restroom is. I know where that project is. I know where that wall is. That is really going to give you a sense of comfort and hopefully a better experience for your customer. Last but not least, always respond to reviews, whether they're good or bad, including complaints, whether they're good, or I suppose complaints are always bad. If you'd like to learn more about how you can handle complaints or reviews, make sure you click in the link in the description below. There's another great live webinar called Writing for Social Media, and we talk a little bit more about how do we handle complaints and maybe how we can address that when it comes to the reviews as well. Next up, we've got search engine marketing. Now, search marketing is where advertisers will only pay when users click on an advert. Advertisers, like for yourself maybe, they can bid on keywords. Remember how important those keywords are. You can bid on particular keywords that are relevant to your target audience. These appear on the search engine results page, also known as a SERP, but it will normally appear somewhere where you see on screen right now, right at the top. So it's going to happen when somebody types in a search query, they jump into Google, oh, I need to find this business. They find a business, and then there's going to be a listing right below that is going to be paid advertisements. Now, Google Ads is a Google advertising platform that allows you to create display, search, YouTube ad campaigns, and with the most online advertisement channels, Google decides which ads are shown up in position based off an auction. Remember, you're going to bid for those keywords, and you can have up to 7 ad slots before the organic listings. Remember, organic listing is something that everybody has, but that's not going to be a part of the paid listing. In order to get that set up, it's a really simple process, and I could be slightly biased, but I've got a lot of great feedback to say that it is super easy to do. So can you go back to the last slide? I can definitely see which slide you were referring to, and we can talk more about that. But what I want to talk about mostly is the search ad. So the 3 steps to create that search ad is to create a campaign on Google Ads. When you create a campaign on Google Ads, it's going to be a simple process. All you need to do is jump into Google Ads, create an account, create a campaign. And some of you may be thinking, oh, Daryl, what is a campaign? Campaign? Don't overthink that too much. You don't have to hire anybody. You don't need to think about getting all this information to simplify a campaign. Imagine you sell shoes. You sell women's shoes and you sell men's shoes. Do I really want to sell women's shoes to everybody and go put an advertisement for everybody? Not necessarily. I normally want to sell women's shoes for women and men's shoes for men. Now, that's not to say that women don't buy men's shoes and women don't buy vice versa. However, if we're looking to create an advert and put money towards advertisements, we want to make sure that we put our men's shoes in front of the right audience, which is generally speaking going to be those men. Then we go ahead and pick up those keywords, the right keywords, and hopefully you now understand the importance of those keywords. And it is a consistent effort to learn more about which keywords are relevant to your business, and you'll have this tightly themed keyword list, and then you will start experimenting with other keywords based on the time of year or the trends that are currently happening or a partnership that you're having. But there's always going to be an iterative process when we're looking at these keywords, and you can track and optimize those during your campaigns. Last but not least, very, very important that you create a compelling advert. Now, myself and Anthea would love to go into detail when it comes to creating a compelling ad, but if you'd like to learn more about how do we now advertise, how do we be more effective, I highly recommend you click in the link in the description below. There's another great live webinar called Get Started with Digital Advertising. If that's not currently available within the live trainings, I'm pretty sure it will be available in the future. And if you're still struggling, what I highly recommend is that you jump into the link in the description below, click onto the online courses, and you'll find an amazing course called The Fundamentals of Digital Marketing. And I'm hoping that Anthea at some point will pop that link within the chat, and hopefully all of you will jump into that, which you'll then be able to get a certificate. But basically you'll learn more about what is digital advertising, where do I spend more of our time, and having a better understanding will hopefully equip you with the tools to be more efficient when you are looking to advertise yourself. So whatever it is, there is that link, popped it straight in there. And I've seen quite a few words and questions coming into the chat. So big thank you for that. We have come into about 40 minutes into the session. Before I go any further, I would like to say a big thank you to every single one of you for your attention. The average human attention span is close to 8 seconds. Some even say 3 seconds. We have really bad attention spans. So if you've managed to stay tuned until now, big kudos to you. We got a little bit left to go. Let's keep that attention. Let's keep that energy, especially within the chat. I'm going to go ahead and jump to the last part. But let's go ahead and see if there's any questions. So in terms of why do you think a keyword list is so important? We had one from Sonia saying how keywords are used to better rank in search engine, 100%. Rita showing up higher in organic search, 100 million %. Then we've got Adela, searchers will find the product ratings that are very popular right now. Mohammed, SEO is important step towards being better ranked, and SEM also included. Question from Eulania. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. Beautiful name. I'm just really bad at pronunciations. We have, I'd like to put my business presence online without a website, and I'll start using a business listing, local listing on Google. How can we bring our listing on the top of rank of Google? So that is a fantastic way of going about it. For those who don't want to create a website, that is perfectly okay. Maybe you'd like to do it along the way in the future, but by you creating a listing on Google Business Profile, the biggest piece of advice that I can give anybody to increase the visibility on Google is, number one, is promote it offline, especially the name of your business. And the name of your business should be the same name that you use for your business listing. Promote it offline as much as possible. And then in terms of improving the visibility of that particular profile, update it with the most relevant, up-to-date information as much as possible. So Yolania, if you are using a Google business listing to have more presence on Google, maybe you want to support that with a couple of other social media platforms, for example, Instagram, Facebook, or any other one of those, to start complementing and driving traffic to that particular business. But just to give you a really great top tip, Yolania, is Once you've created a Google business listing and you start adding photos, you start adding descriptions, opening times, closing times, and you start adding all the information that you provide for your customers, there is actually a button within Google Business Profile that you can click and say, create website. When you click create website inside your Google business listing, you will then get an automatic website created for you. On all the information that you provided, it's going to make a website for you. Then all you need to do is move that around. And if you're familiar with, I don't know, Google Docs or Microsoft Word or any of those type of platforms, you will feel a little bit more comfortable moving that website around, and it is free of charge. Alternatively, you can just jump into something called Google Sites. But great question. Keep those coming in. We're going to go ahead and jump into question. Andrew, what is the best recommendation for wide scale or let me go ahead and see the rest of that. Let's say non-regional based businesses. I'm referring to near me or businesses like you. So what are best recommendation for wide scale or let's say non-regional based businesses? Trying to find, so I'm referring to near me businesses. So then I would start thinking about the keywords, but also think about the locality and think about the customers that are in your area and what are they searching for. But I'm a little bit of a conflicting in terms of local business and wide scale. So you're looking to scale widely in referring to near me or local businesses. Slightly confused on that one. Hopefully Anthea will be able to wrap that question up. If not, Andrew, please go ahead and book into those one-to-one mentoring sessions so we can go into that a little bit more detail, and hopefully we'll be able to give you more of a concise answer and a more specific answer. Then we have Robin. How important are alt text for images for SEO compared to other SEO content optimizations? Get often this by clients. The best answer that I can give you, Robin, it comes down to more information is better. Of course, if it's relevant to the product or the service that you're providing, alt text is very, very important, not only to improve the overall understanding of what that is, but the main purpose is, of course, is for a screen reader or for those from an accessibility point of view to understand more about what that particular post or information is about. If you'd like to learn more about this in more detail, what I highly recommend is that you click on that link of the video that we shared earlier. And at the end of the video, they actually give you more links to click on to really dive into SEO and learning more about which one's going to be more applicable than others. But it's a great question. Fantastic. Let's keep the ball rolling. We've got about 15 minutes left. If you have any questions or queries, please go ahead. Keep Anthea on her toes. Pop it into the chat, and I've got some time towards the end to answer any particular more questions at the end. In the meantime, myself and Anthea would love to know your feedback. If you're enjoying today's session, or if you are gaining valuable information that you're going to help you move forward, please go ahead and give us some feedback. Or maybe you just like to give us a feedback on today's session, please go to goo.gle/digital garage feedback. It would mean the world to us if you just took 2 minutes out of your day to fill in that survey and let us know what you thought about today's session. But don't worry, you don't have to do it right now. I'm going to reference this towards the end. So last but not least, we're going to jump into boost your presence on Google. I'd like to kind of commend everybody, firstly, on your attention span, but understand the journey that we've just been through. What we started off first is something that I recommend that everybody does, is understand your customers, understand that journey, understand what they want, understand what keywords they're using, understand if they're female, understand if they're male, understand what their age they are, understand what makes your customers tick. What do they want? What don't they want? What do they like? What don't they like? This is not something that you're going to do just today within an hour. This is something that we work on every single day. And by learning more about your customers, they essentially have all of the answers to all of the questions that you have. So we looked at the customers. Then we looked at how we can get your business on Google by using a Google business listing. And remember, there was 3 different ways in which where customers can find your business, which is an organic listing, which takes time, and that is focused on search engine optimization. But maybe you've got a little bit of budget and you want to start getting your business right up there. You use search engine marketing to bid for keywords to get your advertisement on the very first page of Google. And then, of course, last but not least, you have the Google Business Profile, which will allow you to create a free listing, but will also take some time to start ranking. Perfect. We're going to jump into the first part. Remember, we spoke about how important mobile devices are because all of us are using these devices. So How cool would it be if we could provide you with a tool to find out how long it takes for someone to open up your website on a 4G connection? Imagine I'm just walking down the street and I'm searching for a business and I tap onto a website and I'd like to learn more about their business, but it's loading. I have great signal, but it's loading, it's loading, it's loading. 3 seconds. I'm tired. Attention spans are low. I'll probably find somewhere else that's somebody going to load this page up a lot faster. Now, the difference on this loading speed could be the difference between someone viewing your business and buying from you, or just getting really just upset about how long it takes to load and just going to one of your competitors. So what I highly recommend is that you jump into an amazing tool called g.co/test my site. Once you arrive at that website, you're going to be prompted to put in a URL. In other words, your website address, for example, www.google.com or www.sonia.com, for example, or whatever your website is. Pop it into this particular tool. It's then going to take a bit of time to analyze your website, and it's going to tell you how long it takes for someone to open up your website on a 4G connection. Then on top of that, you'll be able to get access to a full custom report where it will tell you how you can improve the speed, but also how you can improve some of the user experience, which could be hugely beneficial to your business moving forward. Next up, we want to clarify, claim, verify your business listing. So first, we need to edit your details. We need to add or change any photos if it was a pre-existing business. We want to respond to reviews, whether they're good or bad. Every single time, every time someone adds a review, I see that as a golden opportunity. I see them as like golden nuggets that you can now start creating a two-way conversation or building up a relationship with your customers. If it's bad, how do I turn that bad review into something positive that could lead to being a brand advocate of my business? Then you want to add managers. Let's say, for example, you do really well, which you are all going to do very, very well if you're not doing very well already, and you've got to be focusing on the business. You want to focus on your service, you want to focus on your products, but we need to make sure that this is up to date all the time. So you can maybe employ somebody, or maybe you've got a friend or a family or a coworker. You can add them as a manager who can then keep this listing up to date all of the time. And it's very, very important that we do so. Then, as mentioned, coming back to Yolania, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. This is when it comes down to, I know you didn't want to create a website because sometimes people, a lot of individuals are overwhelmed with thinking, oh, a website. I need to learn how to code. I need to buy things. I need to organize things. I need to learn things. Yes, in the long run, that's maybe something you'd like to do. But if you are a business that is just starting off or doesn't have a website and just really wants to get yourself out there, a website is a great way to be kind of the front of your business, to give your customers, hey, this is who we are, this is what we provide, this is what we're about, and give them a couple of buttons to click on. And this is going to be a very, very simple website. You won't be able to start adding in payment systems and all of that, which you could potentially in the long run, but you want to use something else for that. So within your Google Business Profile dashboard, so this is going to be a part of your listing. When you go into the dashboard, you're going to see what you're seeing on the left-hand side, which is young green goers. It's going to be a part of the dashboard. All you're going to do is you're going to click onto website. Then Google will automatically use the information that you've already provided within that listing to create a website for you. Once that website is created, you then have the power to move things around, change the colors, change the theme, change the photos, change the videos, and make it presentable in the way in which you would like your customers to see your business. Really amazing tool. So highly recommend that you use that basis of Google Business Profile. Then you can optimize your business listing by adding opening hours. Now, I could speak for days on this, but to give you a simple example, after the pandemic, when things started to open up, there was a coffee shop that I found, just like the exercise that we did earlier. I was like, oh, let me find a nice coffee shop. I found one. It was about 15 minutes walk, but I thought, you know what? I'm tired of being indoors. I want to go for a walk. It says it's open until 5 o'clock. Perfect. Grab my laptop, go on a walk, got my headphones on, walking 15 minutes, get to the business. It's closed. But it said it's open. Now, you may have come across something similar to that before. That is a negative experience, a negative customer experience. It's quite a huge pain point for me. And regardless of how amazing they say they are, I've never been back there. And I don't think I will be back there. So when it comes to your information that you provide within your Google Business Profile, We need to keep it up to date all of the time, because this could really lead down to a path that I experienced before. Next up, add photos to attract visitors and reply to reviews to build trust. Next up is a huge focus on using posts to tell customers what's new. On a show of emojis, pop in your favorite emoji within the chat if you are currently on social media. It doesn't matter what social media platform you're on, but if you are on social media, please go into the chat and pop in your favorite emoji. I'm going to pop in mine, which is the wonderful one right there. So enter your favorite emoji if you're currently on social media. It's just a little bit of an exercise to see how many of us are on social media. We got one from Anthea as well, because many of us are on social media. If we are, the way I like to think about a Google business profile is we need to now consider when we are posting on these social media platforms. We've got Mohammed with a big smiley face so far. We've got Andrew, we've got Adelia, we've got Simran, all with these wonderful emojis and such unique emojis. So Rita, I love that too. So we're all on social media, or many of us are. If you are posting, which I'm making the assumption you are, to your family, your friends, or whoever, don't forget about the Google business profile. Now, I'm not saying to you that people are going to be looking at business listings and be like, haha, tap, tap, and scrolling it like we do on social media. No, but if you start taking the information that you're putting out there on social media and start tailoring that for your Google business profile, what's that going to do? It's going to start putting more relevant, up-to-date information. And is that not what everybody thrives on? You, me, Anthea, everybody, we thrive on up-to-date, relevant information. So if you are posting on social media, try take some of that information and start posting within your Google business profile. Now, I want you to remember, this is not going to be visible to everybody and all of a sudden, but if somebody does come across your business, it's like, wow, look at how much information there is. And I'd like to come back to the point of what Rita said to us earlier, is she found something, but there was no pictures, there was no reviews, which discouraged her and led her to look for something else. That is something that we cannot let happen. We want your businesses to stand out there as much as possible. Then you want to boost your digital marketing efforts through insights. So don't worry about it having to squint too much. You don't have to see the details, but what you will see within the Google business profile, you will actually get access to the insights. And there is a graph there, which is going to be green, which is direct, and blue, which is discovery, which essentially is telling you how many people have typed in your name of your business, search for it, and then clicked on yours directly. That is a direct search and people are finding you. However, maybe somebody searched for something similar to your business. And they were like, oh, I'm going to type this in. And they started searching through the business listing to find a business that's relevant to them. That is going to be a discovery, because they didn't look for you directly, but they found you through discovery. Then you're going to be able to find out a little bit more about where customers view your business. Are they viewing it more on Google search? Are they viewing it more on Google Maps? Really, really important. If you'd like to learn more about analytics or all of those types of details, click on the link in the description below. Another great live webinar called Get Started with Analytics. And it really just sets you up with the basics to understand, what should I be looking for? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the last part, because we've got about 4 minutes to go, which would be reminding everybody, if you can go ahead and leave us some feedback, go to goo.gle/digital garage feedback. Myself, Anthea, and the team, we love delivering these sessions, and we'll continue to love to deliver these sessions, but we love even more is the feedback from you. So hopefully we can improve moving forward. We have a couple of questions that's just popped in from Yolania. Can we, as the business owner, remove or hide negative comments or reviews from customers? That is a big no. So, and the reason being is because Google is recommended that they reply to every review. The only time you'll be able to review a negative review or comment is if it violates the policies around the Google business profile. So if it's violating any policies or procedures that are in place, you can appeal to Google to say, could you please remove that? Or generally they might remove it because they violated those policies. But we are living in a world where we can express ourselves freely. And to be honest, I welcome all reviews, all comments. As much as we don't want to have bad reviews because it could potentially bring down our name, the best thing that any of us can do is tackle that head on, try to solve and help that individual. If they had a bad experience, they've had negative comments, try to address it. And again, I won't be able to go into details with this, but if you'd like to learn more about how to handle complaints, I highly recommend that you join our other live training called Writing for Social Media. And we could potentially, and I've done this in the past, I've turned a really negative review and a comment. I handled the situation so well that that person is now a brand advocate for that brand and is now shouting about how amazing the customer service is that they received. So simple answer is no, we cannot just remove any comments or any review. It needs to be either against Google's policy or we just go ahead and respond. Next one from Simran. Does the negative comments directly affect on the rating of the app or the website? No, it does not. The only effect that it may have is if you have lots of bad ratings or lots of bad reviews and you haven't responded to them, and they're just there, they're just bad negative reviews, and you haven't taken upon to challenge that and support that customer, it may appear bad, not only from the negative reviews, but I have personally come across a business that have got a really bad example, and I sorted that out. But I'm running out of time. Thank you for those questions. Let's go ahead and jump into the next steps. Please go ahead and jump in the link in the description below. There's many, many more trainings. If you are struggling and you still need a little bit more help, please make sure you go to the one-to-one mentoring, which is g.co/UK mentoring. We look forward to helping you in all forms of fashion around the digital world. But last but not least, I'd like to say a big thank you to Anthea for moderating today's chat. I'd like to say a big, big thank you to all of you for staying engaged. But without further ado, please go ahead and leave us a review at goo.gle/digital garage feedback. Shout about this amazing sessions, live trainings to the world. If you do shout about it, make sure you hashtag Digital Garage. But without further ado, make sure you look after yourself, make sure you look after each other, and I would say bye for now.